You've tuned in to Chip Grooves Radio with Mike and Jesse.
That crap with PCs.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll stick with Apple.
We're good now. We're good.
Well, that's good. Good. Well, you seemed pretty excited. And what have you got for us today?
Oh yeah, for sure. So we've had a couple of pretty big game release announcements. Really just in this last week and a half.
Yeah.
I got in touch with you because after our last recording, I'd mentioned that I have owned a copy of Alien Isolation forever, but have never played it. And then, don't you know it, we get an announcement on the 10-year anniversary that Alien Isolation 2 is at some stage of development. I don't know when that's supposed to be, but hey, I mean, I guess that means I should probably play the first one, right?
Yeah, I'm excited. I was not expecting that at all. I was glancing at Reddit and this thing popped up and I was like, what is this? Oh, it's probably just a thank you because it's 10 years. Oh boy, here we go. So Alien Isolation 2 officially greenlit, but I imagine we are in pre-production. So don't get your panties in a bundle yet because it's going to be a while.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But I mean, it's super exciting. I know a lot of people are really passionate about it. I don't know how it is that I haven't played the game because I'm a huge fan of the series. So it's kind of crazy that I haven't played the game, but we'll get there. All in good time.
Yeah.
All in good time. But in more exciting news for me personally, again, completely out of the blue. So Harebrained Schemes, an independent game developer that I've been following for a while, announced a new game and I did not see it coming at all. It's called Graft. It's like a cyberpunk themed, probably sort of top down strategy or turn-based strategy game, like some of their other more recent ones have been. Notably the Shadowrun PC reboot, and then the two sequels, Dragonfall and Hong Kong, which, boy, I would love to talk about the soundtracks to those games sometime, especially Hong Kong, because it's awesome. Oh my God, it's so good. And even more recently, they actually did another FASA, F-A-S-A. Yes, that's right. FASA IP, which is the Battletech turn-based strategy game that came out at this point a couple of years ago. All of those games that I just mentioned, the Shadowrun and the Battletech games, are all based on the old FASA tabletop games. Like Shadowrun is it's like a pen and paper role playing game originally, and there've been a bunch of different video game versions of it over the years. Basically, it's like Cyberpunk 2077, but Cyberpunk couldn't call itself Shadowrun. Although I think technically Cyberpunk came out before Shadowrun, like the original Cyberpunk role playing game. I don't know what the timing is on that, but long story short, Cyberpunk 2077 and Shadowrun are basically the same thing, except Shadowrun also has magic, rituals, spirits, demons, monsters, that kind of thing, whereas Cyberpunk is more like super gritty real world. Graft, which is the game they just announced, looks like it's probably more in line with the Cyberpunk thing. It didn't seem like one that there's going to be magic involved in.
It looks phenomenal.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, the music in the teaser trailer was killer. The art style is amazing.
Yeah. Woo. I'm just looking through the screens that when you sent it to me, I was like, this looks really pretty, just in a horrific way. But I mean, it is a beautiful set of screenshots they have on their website, harebrained-schemes.com.
Yep.
If you want to get, but yeah, the environmental artistry is just absolutely gorgeous. I'm looking forward to it, and I have no idea what to expect.
Yeah, it's cool too. Harebrained Schemes, which I think they might have just renamed themselves just straight up Harebrained at this point. I'm not sure. They were an indie developer. They ended up getting bought or joined Paradox Interactive, which is like a publisher, publishing house. But I think just this year, they left Paradox and they're back strictly independent again, which is pretty cool.
Good on them.
Yeah.
Good on them. I told you earlier this week, I have been so obsessed with Silent Hill 2 remake. Oh my God. It has taken over my life when I'm not at work. And I'm on cloud nine. I not only did it come out this week, I got it a day early somehow. I don't know. Amazon either delivered it wrong or I was not aware of a change in the release date. So I got it on Tuesday and I was like, what the fuck? So that was a present. It's so beautiful, Jesse. I can't describe it. It is absolutely everything that I was hoping for, not just because it's the same game necessarily, but because it's redesigned in a way that keeps veteran players like myself on their toes. And what I mean by that is, it's not like a cut and paste with pretty visuals. Now it's the same game, but there are new puzzles. There are new places you can go to discover things and be diverted. You have your attention pulled away from what you're trying to do. It's awesome. And yeah, the music, first and foremost, Akira Yamaoka came back to do the music. He remastered every track with new instrumentation and new parts to songs. So I'm listening to the game and it's all familiar in my ears, but new things are happening. So I am very excited to get my hands on an official soundtrack for this game. But that is what I've been doing this week on every chance I can get.
Well, I got to say, it sounds corny, but I'm really excited for you because I know you've been looking forward to this for a long time. And anytime that there's a reboot or, whatever, a new episode of a game that's been out of production for a long time, there's always that kind of worry. Like, is it actually going to be good? Am I wasting my money? And I'm happy to hear that is not the case, good sir.
And I think it is vindication for how I've been feeling, leading up to this in the months and even since since the reveal of it. People have been shit talking it like, oh, it's going to suck because it's being made by Bloober Team. And I just think that was so unfair to label it that way because I've played a couple of their games and they're not AAA titles necessarily, but they're still good. And they did a very good job so far. That being said, I'm still in the apartments, which is very early on in the game. I haven't had as much time as I'd like, but yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm starting my vacation this week, so I will have a lot more time coming up. And I'm just very excited. I'm excited for Konami. They're kind of back in the gaming realm. Everyone knows they jumped ship about 10 years ago to do pachinko machines, and that broke everyone's heart. But now they're starting to farm out their AAA titles, and I'm getting excited about that because I was hoping they would do that 10 years ago. So they've got Silent Hill 2 is the official return of Silent Hill. They got the movie coming out. They've got 2 other games, I think, in production. I'm hoping they do the same thing with Contra and Castlevania. So yeah, here's looking to the future, and thank you, Konami. Thank you, Bloober Team, as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that the reason that it was out of the market was that they'd switched over to making pachinko machines.
Oh yeah, they jumped ship. They canceled a bunch of projects, and they're like, you know what? We're done with video games. And it's like, that was heartbreaking because they were one of my favorite companies, but they let everyone down. So, but I forgive you, Konami. I know you're listening. No, but that's not why we're here today, Jesse. We are here to cover a classic video game soundtrack. Does it mean good? Does it mean bad? Well, we'll let you, the listener, find out. We're going to cover Streets of Rage today for Sega. And this rings in officially, I think, and I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, not done on purpose, but I think this is the first Sega game I've done on this show. So I apologize. Not done on purpose, but my nostalgia ears took over, I think, subconsciously. So I was focused on games I had played a lot more than Sega, and Nintendo definitely fits that category. So I apologize, but here we are, Streets of Rage 1, world-renowned composer, and I've talked about him before on the show. He had a stellar performance in Super Nintendo's ActRaiser.
Yeah.
We're talking, of course, of Yuzo Koshiro. And he was the composer for, I believe, the first 3 Streets of Rage games, but we're only going to be talking about 1 today. He is a powerhouse, and anyone who listens and pays attention to video game soundtracks will know his name because he's one of the heavy hitters. And he, I think, came back to do a couple tracks for Streets of Rage 4 not too long ago. So that's cool.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool that we're covering a Sega game, like you were saying.
Absolutely.
It's not something that's been done on the pod before. And I don't think, probably not because we're trying to avoid them or anything. It's just,
absolutely.
I mean, I think that as kids, for one reason or another, especially growing up in the 90s, you just kind of ended up on one team. Like you were either Team Sega or Team Nintendo. And there really weren't very many kids, if any, that had both consoles.
Right.
I knew one. I literally knew one person. No, 2 people with Segas. And I know that, the big thing with Sega was, when like Mortal Kombat came out on it and it was bloodier and, this, that, and the other. So my parents, when it came time to decide between an SNES and a Sega, made the decision then, well, SNES was the way that we were going to go. And I was fine with that. I had always been a Nintendo kid anyway, so I didn't feel strongly that I needed to get a Sega. And then, of course, by the time the SNES actually came out, it was kind of like the whole PC Master Race thing we have going on these days.
Right.
The SNES kids thought they were better because the graphics chips and the audio chips and stuff on the SNES were technically better than the ones on the Sega. So
not technically.
Yeah.
I'm a very, and I don't do console wars anymore. I used to when I was a child. Sega, Nintendo, I don't care anymore, but for some reason I still lean in Nintendo's favor simply because I think the production value of their games, no matter what company was making it, whether it was a Nintendo game or a Konami or Capcom game, it just felt crisper and more polished than the Sega version. And I'm not saying that as like absolute definitive. That's just how I feel. From what I see and saw on Sega games was like, it was just coming at Nintendo. Like, what can they do? And let's bump it up 10 notches. Yeah. And in that ideology of let's make it better, I feel like the game suffered a bit. So for example, I think Contra Hardcore, which released around the same time as Contra 3 on Super Nintendo, same era of game, but is just ludicrous. It takes Contra and does weird shit with it. The music, I'm sorry, the chip in the Sega Genesis and the Sega just were not up to standards. I don't think they hold a candle to the Super Nintendo, but and then Castlevania Bloodlines, a very highly forgettable entry in the Castlevania series, just because everything felt like they were trying to outdo whatever was on the Super Nintendo, and it just falls flat for me as little more than dick measuring, and it's like it didn't work for me. So I don't know.
Yeah. One thing I will say is, when speaking specifically to the sound chips, which obviously is the whole premise of this podcast, I never really found that I loved the sound and music quality that I was getting out of most Genesis games. I found that like the sound chips, maybe, I don't know what it is. I don't know the technicalities, that maybe they were less refined. They were less technologically advanced, or, maybe it's just the way that composers had to utilize them when they made music. I found that most of the music in Genesis games, by and large, I just found a little bit more simplistic sounding, a little more grating. Spoilers, I don't feel that way about this soundtrack.
That's not this one.
That's not this one. And that was a pleasant surprise because I've never played this game. Never played it on any console, as a matter of fact. So this is going to be kind of cool. It's been a while since we've covered something that I've never played. So
Right. Well, I've played it a little bit. I have not beaten it. Of course, I didn't own a Sega, but it is a fun game, obviously, along the lines of your Final Fight, your Double Dragon. This was Sega's answer to it, and it's a worthy competitor. Everyone loves this game, and it is absolutely, take nothing away negative from it. This game was classic, and to have Yuzo Koshiro behind it sonically is only a positive thing. And I will say that this soundtrack, when it came out, I believe it was 91, something like that. I don't remember, but I would say the soundtrack to this game felt a little ahead of its time. And that, when I was looking up Yuzo Koshiro, that is a term I was seeing. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Because looking back on it, obviously, there was electronic music, keyboards, and synth in the mainstream, but not a lot. And as a form of music, it was very much in its infancy. So I'm talking strictly like house beats, acid, techno, that kind of stuff. It existed, but it was not on the main radar, I don't think. So raves and shit, that was very, very much a later in the 90s thing. So this coming out very early, late 80s, early 90s was a little ahead of its time. And I think that's huge because it's indicative of Yuzo being ahead of the curve in certain ways. And just comparing it to ActRaiser, which I covered early on, it also shows that he has such a grasp of different styles of music to be able to compose such differing soundtracks. I just think it's awesome to listen to.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's funny because we're sitting here talking and I have the music just playing in the background and I'm like bopping my head around. Like, it's got such a good just beat and flow and pacing, and it's great. Great. The whole soundtrack really, it has almost like a club music or like a dance bar kind of vibe to it.
Absolutely.
Not really quite like techno, but like kind of techno-ish a little bit. So I'm looking forward to kind of going through some of that as we listen through the soundtrack.
Yeah, I would call it like an electronica dance fusion.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird setting, but I wanted to start with Fighting in the Street. Oh man, that is a good one.
Oh yeah. That was the song I was just listening to.
Yep. It's such a mood setter, and I would call it, again, electronica dance fusion, something like that. It may, on the surface, sound like it wouldn't jive so much with a beat-em-up game, but it really does. Like, it captures this momentum of the game you're about to play, and it is complete with those beeping stings that are all too common in like raves right now. It even has this come down section with a muted melody and a quasi trance movement, while the main thrust of the song and the main thrust of the beat really never misses a step. It just keeps the song moving, and it brings down the adrenaline. When compared to other beat 'em up games of the time, this song stands pretty tall, and it stands apart from those other games like Final Fight and Double Dragon. It's just the merits of his musical direction. It's unbelievable. I think this song really sets the tone for the album, and it's a great song to listen to.
Yeah, I mean, like, it doesn't get old. It really doesn't. I mean, you can just sit here and listen. I mean, what's the track like? It's like almost 5 minutes long, which is kind of unheard of. Honestly, a lot of the tracks on this soundtrack are pretty long. Usually, especially with games of this era, you're used to having like short loops, tracks that last for a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes if you're lucky. And a lot of times, if they were longer, it was really just kind of repetitive anyway. But this song,
it's like
almost
an
has
actual
just like
song.
It's like an actual song. It's
got
telling
intro.
a story. Yeah. It's got, intro, it's got stingers, it's got transitions between, even different musical styles within the same song. It's wild.
It really pumps you up for the game. Beating up bad guys to dance music doesn't sound like it would make sense, but yeah. What about you? What's one of your songs that you were listening to?
I gotta be honest. I'm just gonna go right to the very beginning, the title track, Streets of Rage. Or The Street of Rage, rather.
The Street of Rage.
The Street of Rage. It is... It just grabbed my attention right away. It almost has like a Miami Vice sort of feel to it. It's got like this Caribbean kind of jive to it. It seems like something that people would be wearing like Hawaiian shirts and like cruising down the strip in Miami with a convertible.
The coastline.
Yeah. Like it's I feel like it, a lot of times for a title track, especially for a big punchy game like this, you get something like you do in the original Double Dragon. And the title track for Double Dragon, I mean, it's like bar none, probably one of the best video game songs probably ever. But it's got a totally different feel. That is aggressive, pumping, just, really gets you hyped up for the game. This has a totally different feel to it, and I like it just as much.
Yeah. And it has that real storytelling intro to it where it's a slow build and you get the instruments slowly coming in while that electronic is howling in the distance. It's just a perfect opening. It's mellow, not very in your face where you think a fighting game would go. It's just a very groovy tune, very subdued and very, I want to say graceful for some reason. I don't know, but the main melody, that piano, that keyboard, very, very chill melody. And it just tells the story of the game. I think it's really awesome. So you've never played this game?
No, never.
So what is your history like with fighting games? Is it relegated to Double Dragon, or were you a Final Fight guy?
No, yeah. I mean, I played basically the side-scrolling fighting games that you saw on NES platforms. I played a good bit of Double Dragon 1 and 2. Never played 3, but we talked about how that probably wasn't missing much there. Honestly, the fighting game that I've probably played the most of is River City Ransom. I've played through that game, I don't even know how many times. But I did play a good bit of Final Fight. I think there was a Final Fight 2 as well.
Yep. 3.
And I guess, yeah, that's true. Yeah. And I guess you could probably say that Ninja Gaiden is sort of a fighting game, but that's more of like a Metroidvania. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a cross between the two.
That's more of like a Japanese Contra.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's probably pretty much the extent of it. I haven't played a ton of other games in that genre before.
I feel like it has, along with shoot 'em ups, like spaceship games, kind of gone the way of the dodo. And it's kind of unfortunate. I know they came out with Streets of Rage. I'm not stupid, people. I do know that just came out a couple of years ago. But it was really, like, I haven't seen an influx of fighting games since then.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it has lost its appeal to people. I know, obviously, it was, well, I would venture to guess and bet that the fighting games, the side-scrolling games like Double Dragon, Final Fight, Turtles in Time, I would say those were number one for a long time in terms of genre of video game. I would be interested to see the stats on that, because it feels like they went from here and then as soon as 3D hit, it's like,
yeah,
we're done with that. Let's go into the third dimension, which is understandable, but at the same time, I think I would like to see a new Final Fight or something where you're not just fighting each other, you're fighting along a street, down through a story. They kind of did it with Shredder's Revenge. Very appreciated.
It was a cool game.
Really like that game. But I'm hoping to see more of a kind of resurgence in it because it just feels like it's nostalgic.
Yeah. I think that there are some other games in the genre that have, I mean, to a certain degree, the genre has evolved a little bit. There have been some new beat 'em up games, side-scrolling beat 'em ups, whatever you want to call them, that have come out in the last couple, I don't know, probably last 10 years or so. Obviously, you may or may not know, but there's a whole couple of other games. There's like 2 or 3 of them in the River City Ransom setting called River City Girls, which basically flip the script.
Oh, yeah.
And you're playing the girlfriends that are going to try and save their boyfriends from, high school bullies and stuff.
I think I heard about that.
They're pretty good. I got to tell you, if you liked River City Ransom or the genre in general, you'll like those games. And then, there's been like the Scott Pilgrim versus the World game that came out in 2014, 2015, something like that. Great game. Great game. And honestly, even like Castle Crashers, which I know that's getting pretty old, but that's a
2006.
That's a side-scrolling beat 'em up. But I think there's a new one that's sort of along the lines of that style. I haven't played it, but it's called Sifu. It came out like not that long ago.
Sifu, Sifu.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up now.
It's not strictly speaking side scrolling, like there's like some corridors that you go down and stuff like that. But
I gotcha.
If you look at some of the screen grabs and stuff, it's a beat 'em up game. No word of a lie.
No, I think that does look pretty good.
I've heard very good things about it.
Huh. This one flew under my radar. That's how on it I am, ladies and
Happy
gentlemen.
to help. Happy to help.
Well, the next song I wanted to talk about, Keep the Groovin'. This was a nice change of pace for me, personally. I think that song, Keep the Groovin', it's exactly what it states. It's, compared to the rest of the album, it is a little mellower. It still moves like the rest of the album, but it's a very steady pace, a very steady and deliberate tempo. What really draws me in is the synth keyboard melody while the bass just slides in the background ever so subtly. The mellowness of this track makes for a wonderful backdrop to kicking the shit out of bad guys. I don't know where it falls in the game, but this is excellent. There's just something about the grooviness that literally keeps you in the zone while you're beating the shit out of people. So this is a great song. It's a great melody, and it's just a nice little reprieve from the excitement of the rest of the album so far.
Yeah, I mean, this is... It sounds kind of corny to say masterpiece, but like this is really something special in terms of video game sound design. There's just so much to say about it. I don't even know where to start, but the synthesizer, when it kicks in, oh my God, it's great. Maybe that's what the Sega sound chip is good at, is doing synthesizers. But if they try to make it sound like regular instruments, it doesn't work.
Right. And I think this sound chip does excel here, and Yuzo knows how to use it, where a lesser composer would perhaps write a soundtrack that was a little bit more grating on the ears. But this song, along with a couple others, I think the synth wave that he's using really lends itself to be transplanted into other games. I can easily picture this accompanying like a Gran Turismo or a Cruisin' USA. But no. It's Streets of Rage, and I just think that's interesting and very telling of his abilities to really draw you in while you're listening to it. I mean, it goes without saying on this podcast, but something that you can really dig into while you're playing a game is very important, and this song does it for me, big time.
Yeah, big time. It's got that vibe, man. Just like we were talking before. It's got that vibe.
It keeps the grooving.
Keeps
apostrophe.
The grooving. Yes. So I would say for my pick, I feel like we can't go an episode without talking about some kind of battle music, and like this whole game is battling, so it's kind of cool to think that this is all just battle music in one form or another. But in terms of like boss music, I'm gonna have to go with Attack the Barbarian. I listened to Big Boss because I assumed I would like it the best. I do not. I think Attack the Barbarian is a better song, and man, it's so good. It's so good. The vocals, like the dude yelling in the background, like it's a legit like techno song. Oh my god. It makes me, you know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of, what's the band that did that song, Firestarter?
Prodigy.
It makes me think of a Prodigy song. For real.
The Firestarter. These songs, this soundtrack, but especially this song, absolutely ahead of its time. Yeah, throw this in the Mortal Kombat movie and you've got you've got it. I feel like this song is the precursor to the main theme for the Mortal Kombat movie from 1995.
Yeah.
Those vocalizations are impressive for the time, and it's good stuff. I think it's got so many parts to it. And it throws in a couple sections from different songs. I don't know if you caught that, but
no.
When the music drops away and you hear the bass thumping along, that's, I believe, Fighting in the Street, and then the zapping of those stings, the synth stings or whatever. Those I think come from Street of Rage too. But it's good stuff. Great song. And it's just exciting to listen to, and it's a wonderful kind of boss music. It's just different. Again,
like it doesn't get old. It's the same, like it come as the sections of the song play through. It's got the same beat and the repetitive yelling and like almost like the bell sounding sort of chimes. I don't know what instrument that's supposed to be, but you'd think it would get old and grating after a couple of minutes. It really doesn't.
No,
it's just varied enough,
And if you listen to it with headphones, as I do a lot of soundtracks, as I'm sure you do, the triangle, let's call it a triangle, kind of bounces from ear to ear. So it doesn't overstay its welcome, and it doesn't overstay its welcome in each ear. So I think that was a smart move too, because it could get really annoying if it just hung out in one ear. But yeah, excellent song. If you want to imagine yourself at a club, I think this is one of those songs. I really do.
Yeah, for sure. And I gotta say, I gotta ask for any listeners out there that have played through this game. There's 2 songs at the end of the soundtrack after game over. One of them is You Became the Bad Guy, and one of them is Good Ending. And I want to know, like, were there actually like a good and a bad ending? There probably were.
It sounds like it.
But yeah, pretty cool.
You beat the shit out of too many bad guys.
Yep.
And now you are the oppressor. Well, not to go on and on, this is a shorter soundtrack. It's about, I think, 45 minutes, 42 minutes, something like that. Yuzo Koshiro is a master, Jesse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's done his his body of work is really impressive. I know, we already talked about ActRaiser. That's been covered on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's so many other games that he's either done the entire soundtrack for or contributed to. You should definitely, if you have a moment and you like this soundtrack, look up his Wikipedia page, because I mean, there's some really, really standout stuff on there. I mean, we've got things like some stuff from Sonic the Hedgehog. Doesn't get much more iconic than that,
right?
We've got Secret of Mana,
Mario.
Yep, we've got the Shenmue series, which I mean, those games are super cool.
Yep.
There's a couple of Castlevania games on here that I've never played before, but
Portrait of Ruin was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah,
that was a DS title, and that was a fantastic game. Great soundtrack.
Nice. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Cheers, sir. You did a great job. You're a fucking awesome composer.
His ability to showcase different styles, as I was kind of mentioning at the beginning, is just something that it feels very unique, and it feels like a lot of people can write really good albums and really good music, but can they jump the shark and do something completely different? And I have to say, the post-romanticism of ActRaiser, since that seems to be the go-to reference, compared against, it's got sweeping orchestral arrangements, it's operatic, almost play-like, and you put that up against Streets of Rage, where it is dance music, essentially. It's like same era, so he's writing them relatively close together, and it sounds like two completely different people. So that's really, really telling of the breadth of his knowledge. Extremely talented man behind the keyboards. I'm sure we'll talk about him in the future, but it must be said every time, Yuzo Koshiro is one of my all-time favorite composers. So make sure you follow him at Yuzo Koshiro on Twitter. Yes, Twitter. Listen to him on Spotify. You can find albums streaming. You can find other soundtracks, I'm sure, on YouTube. You can still buy the album. You can buy it right now on Amazon. I'm looking at it. I believe it's a third-party sale, but it's still very affordable. That's what I got upstairs on my 8-track. No, not my 8-track. What am I saying? On my turntable.
That's a whole nother type of enthusiast. If you turn into an 8-track enthusiast, we might have to have a discussion.
My wife will kill me.
Yeah.
You're not collecting anything else. Just a blast to listen to. I'm not a dance music guy, but man, this is good stuff.
So what's your rating?
I got to give it 10 out of 10 fists of fury. Not that that means anything, but...
Nice. I listened to the whole soundtrack probably 2 or 3 times, just having it on in the background while I was working, and I couldn't find a dud on it. Every song was awesome. I didn't have any complaints about a single one. Even some of the more kind of, a little bit wackier ones, like even player select, like it didn't matter. They were all great. So I'm going to have to give it 10 out of 10 Bare Knuckles, which I think is the Japanese title for the game.
Bare Knuckle. Yep.
Bare Knuckle.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for listening, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to skedaddle. I am going to, since it is the beginning of my vacation, try to talk my wife out of the TV so I can sink in some more Silent Hill 2 time. And Jesse, please say goodbye to these good folks.
See you, everybody, and watch out for yourself when you are on the streets of rage.
Oh my God.
See you, everybody.
Thank you for listening. If you liked what you heard, please rate and subscribe. We very much appreciate it. Also visit our brand new website, magusmediaproductions.net, to get all information on every show. See you next time.
Well, hello there, Internet people. My name is Josh, and I am one of the hosts of the Nastagram RPG podcast. We're an actual play podcast, and we're good. And why are we good? Well, let's let the other host tell you. Dan.
Hey, everyone. If you like authentic, real-world sound effects, our lasers go pew-pew.
I love it. Matt.
Skip me. Coming back to Matt.
Ryan.
Okay, so after 2 decades of trying, we finally mastered the 3.5 grapple. We
We're not doing that.
We
certainly did
Never
not.
mind.
Try
Scratch
again.
that. Scratch
Scratch
that.
that.
Check it out. Look it up.
John.
If you're looking for a RPG podcast that plays a whole hell of a lot of games, you like to spice the life.
Spice it up.
Spice it up.
Matt, you ready?
Yeah, I think I'm ready. If you enjoy bad accents and overacting, you'll enjoy our podcast.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
And Jake, bring us home.
I like to just say we didn't just throw a phone on the table and hit record. Like, Josh does a damn good job with the editing. And
Facts.
if you care about that, you will not be disappointed.
That's right. We spent a bunch of money that we don't make on the podcast.
100%.
So check us out, Nastagram RPG Podcast. You can find us on all the goddamn podcast apps, and we'll see you there.
That's nasty.